Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. We got another round of class balance changes, and in particular, one spec is going to be eating real good in 10.2, and that is actually Balance Druid. They rewinded some of the changes that were going to make them terrible in PvP and added a whole slew of Moonkin-specific customizations. I thought this would never happen. They had said that, not a lot of people play Balance Druid, so they don't really spend a lot of time on it, but look at these customizations. We got snow moonkins with giant antlers, fire moonkins with giant antlers, little upbeat antlers. You can customize multiple layers of the moonkin, the decorations on the chest, the color variations. Like, there's a whole slew of stuff to explore for the Balance Druid, and expands into other color variants as well, and different antler lengths. In particular, I think I'm going to be going for the fire one. We've got golden ones as well, little forest tree ones, complete purple ones. It really bulked out, like Omega Giga Chad Moonkins. Like, what, dude? These are dope. I can't believe that this is actually happening. So I'm really excited to check those out. But more particularly, we've got class tuning as well, and some Balance Druid ones in here as well, which are going to be pretty happy about, at least for PvE, I think. For Demon Hunter, remember Demon Hunter's getting a complete class rework, and so now they're adjusting that rework a lot. So they've introduced a new talent, Champion of the Glaive. Throw Glaive has 2 charges and a 10-yard range increase. Fodder to the Flame and Unleash Power have been completely removed. Chaos Nova cooldown has been reduced to 45 seconds from 1 minute, and its Fury cost is also 5 less. Concentrated Sigils are no longer going to increase sigil duration by 2 seconds. This is going to be really healthy for the game in terms of Vengeance Demon Hunter. Their Sigils of Silence are going to be really oppressive in PvP. Precise Sigils no longer increases sigil duration by 2 seconds, and Live by the Glaive heal value has increased to 4% of maximum health from 2. So I do wonder what they're going to do with the removal of Fodder to the Flame. No proc demons is a significant loss of healing and damage. Many talents have changed location or been combined into choice nodes, primarily among those in the bottom half of the tree. Soul Rend has been renamed Soul Scar. Initiative's critical strike chance bonus has been reduced to 10 from 12. Fell Barrage now has a maximum duration of 8 seconds. It was previously uncapped. Fury cost per volley has been reduced to 8, down from 15, and the damage per volley has been reduced by 28%. This is probably going to be better for PvP because, its damage potential would have been infinite, but you would have got CC'd and stopped on it in that case. Now you've only got to worry about covering yourself for an 8-second period of time if you want to maximize it. Although, again, getting stunned or crowd controlled on this, I wonder if they'll make it uninterruptible as they did with I-Beam, so that hard crowd control is the only way to stop it. I feel like that's going to be a requirement if it's ever going to work in PvP. Your 2-set bonus has been redesigned. Blade Dance consumes a charge of Throw Glaive to fire at your primary target for 100% damage, and each slash has a 50% chance to throw a glaive at an enemy for 35% damage. So your rotation is getting easier. You can probably take Throw Glaive off your bar at that point if it's consuming the charge. Also, this is going to allow you to apply random magic damage bonuses to the target that are always going to be alternating, which likely will be really powerful in things like Battlegrounds. It's a new Battleground feature coming out. Your 4-set bonus, Throw Glaive reduces the remaining cooldown of the hunt by 2, and the hunt's damage over time effect will last 6 seconds longer. For Vengeance Demon Hunter, they've changed some locations on spells. You're just getting flat damage buffs: 10% to Shear, 10% to Fracture, 7% to Soul Cleave, 30% to Throw Glaive. Calcified Spikes now provides this benefit if Demon Spikes is refreshed in addition to when it expires, and Demon Spikes can no longer be canceled manually. Meteoric Strikes, that's as good as I can do it right now. I'm not doing that again. Reduces the cooldown of Infernal Strike by 10 seconds, up from 8. Fell Flame Fortification now reduces magic damage taken while Immolation Aura is active by 12, up from 10. And Feast of Souls healing value increased by 100% and no longer has an initial tick. Bulk Extraction cooldown reduced to 1 minute, was 1 minute and 30 seconds. Soul Barrier Absorb value increased by 28. Massive buffs for Vengeance. Fiery Demise now increases your fire damage dealt to enemies afflicted by Fiery Brand by 25 to 50%, up from 20 to 40. And Focus Cleave now increases Soul Cleave's damage to its primary target to 50, up from 40. So one thing you got to note here is that classes that were doing really well in Mythic Plus, particularly in the God Comp composition, are probably getting nerfed and likely going to be weak leading into this patch, and may have a little bit of leak or spillover into PvP. And classes that are not represented at all in that case are probably going to get massive buffs, and that's what we see with the trend here. For Balance Druid, Star Surge damage is getting a 6% buff, but will not come into PvP combat. Shooting Stars will, though, be getting a 15% damage buff. I think this is just going to compensate for the fact that we're losing a set bonus that does this, but it did previously not So they actually went back on this. So hey, balanced druids, we're eating good even in PvP as well as cosmetically. For Guardian Druid, your set bonus has been redesigned. Rage you spend during Rage of the Sleeper fuel the growth of Dream Thorns, which wreathe you in their protection after Rage of the Sleeper expires, absorbing a percentage of damage dealt to you while the thorns remain, up to a value per rage spent. Your 4-set bonus, Blazing Thorns value capped at 100% of your maximum health. Fix an issue with Blazing Thorns damage to be dealt twice, which honestly that sounds like a nerf if you're getting double dips. Big nerfs coming into Augmentation. Augmentation has been really problematic, I think, in the game in terms of meta and game balancing. Although maybe it has been great for players who want to really focus on that role for buffing their group, it has definitely caused a lot of problems. So hopefully the mayhem is going to be resolved a little bit with these changes. They're trying to target them in raid scenarios so that as to not have 4 evokers be augmentation mandatory in the raid. If 2 Ebon Mites are already active on an ally, Ebon Mite will now seek a nearby ally with fewer than 2 Ebon Mites. Ebon Mite's priority to apply to other augmentation evokers has been reduced and will apply to other damage dealing roles first. This will have effects in Battlegrounds as well if you can have multiple augmentation evokers. So this doesn't really affect Arena, although maybe you could get double aug. I've seen 3 augs, so in 3s. If presciences are already active on an ally, prescience will no longer be able to be applied to that ally. When casting prescience with an enemy selected, its priority to apply to other augmentation evokers has been reduced and will apply to other damage dealing roles first. Shifting Sands now prefers to apply to an ally who does not already have Shifting Sands. And Amir Distill, the Dream set bonus 4-piece Trembling Earth now allows buff stacks to overlap. With Prescience having 2 charges, there is now a case where you can lose a stack of Trembling Earth since you can cast Prescience twice in a row. To alleviate that, the stacks may now overlap so you don't waste part of the bonus. So this is not really going to address them in PvP, unfortunately. Their tankiness, their support to their team is not being addressed. They're probably still going to be really powerful in PvP in that case. But I can't really speak about this change to raid and how much impact it's going to have because my knowledge is pretty limited there. But they are targeting, or at least they have their attention focused on them for raid so far. Hopefully they'll get them in line as well for PvP moving forward. For Hunter, they've fixed a bonus, fixed an issue where several talents or set bonuses effects that modified damage or critical damage dealt did not properly affect the damage of Poison Injection talent. So Poison Injection talent getting an indirect buff through bug fix. Beast Mastery, bonus pets from Call of the Wild now spawn on top of your target rather than by your side. That's going to be a nice way of just guaranteeing that their damage gets off. Survival, the empowerment buff from Coordinated Assault now lasts 5 seconds up from 3. Fixed an issue where the Coordinated Assault's empowerment buff had the wrong spell description. So some bug fixes for Hunter that seem positive. For Mage, fixed an issue where clear casting would trigger off of non-mage spells. I don't know what you were casting. It was a non-mage spell. Fixed an issue where gaining clear casting from cascading power wouldn't correctly gain all the clear casting modifiers, including Slipstream's channel while casting benefit. Fixed an issue where consuming a concentration proc would not also grant nether precision if talented. And fixed an issue with Arcane Surge not splashing beyond 5 targets as indicated on the tooltip. Siphon Storm's tooltip has been updated to clarify that it grants 1 arcane charge. For Brewmaster Monk, your 4-set bonus, Stagger Absorb value is capped at 100% of the maximum health. This seems to be a trend that they're doing for all of the tanks. For Mistweaver Monk, Rising Sun Kick is now default. The location of Healing Elixir and Zen Pulse has swapped. Okay, so I'm trying to remember what the tree looks like. That seems like a big deal. Your starter build has been updated, fixed an issue that caused Tear of Morning and Thunder Focus T's enveloping mist effects to not properly increase by 25%. So bug fixes that seem to be buffs for Mistweaver. For Prop Paladin, fixed an issue causing misalignment between Consecration and Mastery Divine Bulwark. For Shadow, I've seen some people getting really upset about this for PvE specifically for these changes for Shadow. Let's see how it will have an impact in PvP. Surge of Insanity now triggers from every 2 casts of Devouring Plague down from 3. The developer notes read, the shadow rotation slowed down more than we were intending for from our changes earlier this patch, and we've seen similar feedback from the community. We maintain our goal to reduce how busy the shadow rotation is, so we're not reverting Surge of Insanity to its Fury Incarnate state, and instead reducing the cast required. We're also increasing the insanity generated from the associated spells to further distinguish their power from the base versions of the spells. Mind Spike Insanity will now generate 8 Insanity up from 6. Mind Play Insanity will now generate 16 Insanity up from 12. Amir Distill 2-set bonus. Shadowward Deaths from the set bonus are now triggered at 20% effectiveness down from 35. And your 2-set bonus, additional Shadowward Deaths from the set bonus now deal reduced inescapable torment damage. Your 4-set bonus, now the initial damage of Shadowward Pain is 200% per stack down from 250. And now increase the initial damage of Shadow Crash by 100% per stack. So Shadow Crash getting some buffs here. I think it's more so the ramp. Obviously, Shadow Priest is going to have a bullseye on it because it's been represented in Mythic Plus so much, and it's likely going to have some spillover for PvP, but this is really tough for me to say how much of an impact it's actually going to have because, generating more insanity doesn't seem bad to me. For Assassination Rogue, Sanguination is being renamed Sanguine Blades. In Venom damage, you're getting buffs on your damage. 8% in Venom, 5% Kingsbane. Indiscriminate Carnage, secondary targets now prioritize enemies that are not afflicted by Garrote and Rupture. And your set bonus now deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets, and same thing for your 4-piece as well. So single target damage buffs, but AoE nerfs. That's going to be a buff for PvP. For Outlaw Rogue, triple threat chance to trigger increased to 15% up from 10. Count the odds chance to trigger reduced to 8 from 10. And now can also be triggered by Sinister Strike. Hidden opportunity effectiveness of chance to strike twice reduced to 80% down from 100. And fix several issues that caused the Amir Drasil Dreams Hope 4-set bonus to be lost. Hidden opportunity, is this when you use ambush, it strikes twice from Shadow Dance or something? That seems like a pretty big nerf if you have 20% chance not to get a double hit. Refresh duration of Roll the Bones combat enhancements now match other enhancements. Fix some edge cases that cause the Emerge Soul the Dreams Hope's 4-set bonus to grant a combat enhancement without a buff. For Subtlety Rogue, you're getting a 7% buff on Shadow Strike. Perforated Veins now applied after striking with Backstab 4 times, down from 5. So I saw a Palomar one-shot build. Now you're going to be able to get to those stacks a little faster. The Rotten now causes your next 2 attacks that generate combo points was 1 attack after activating Symbols of Death to deal 35% increased damage, down from 50. And Replicating Shadow's secondary targets now prioritize enemies that are not afflicted by Rupture. For Shaman Elemental, your 4-piece Primordial Wave now causes your next 2 Lava Burst casts to strike extra targets, down from 3. This is going to be a really fun one. I've been playing Ellie this morning. I just tried it out, and it's a lot of fun. I think this set bonus is going to make Ellie insanely fun on the next patch. Resto Shaman's getting a buff on a spell it doesn't use. Chain Heal increased by 20%, at least in PvE. Now in PvP, maybe there's some Chain Heal builds that might come out as a result of this buff. You may want to explore it, but I'm kind of doubting it. For Demonology, Caustic Presence is doing exceedingly well in single-target situations, and even more so when paired with Summon Demonic Tyrant. This reduction in damage is heavy, but Caustic Presence should retain its identity as a useful AoE-centric talent while not becoming the correct answer in all situations. This is such a tough dance that they're going to have to do, because I swear anytime they revamp the talent trees, it's just a new meta build that everybody plays, and then they try and mix it around, and it just transitions into another meta build, and at least in PvE, it seems to be like that. In PvP, it seems like, some classes have a really interesting variety of players who just play different things for the most part. But in PvE, it seems to be a sticking problem I've seen consistently. Additionally, we want to keep the synergistic benefit of extending Valfiend's duration via Summon Demonic Tyrant to capitalize on a stronger Caustic Presence. Lastly, we're increasing the throughput of Demonology's tier set to align with the throughput of other tier sets. So Valfiend Caustic Presence damage reduced by 50%. That was Valfiend was just AoEing, and in PvP, it was actually doing a monstrous amount of damage, so this will have impacts. Eye of Gul'dan now benefits from haste and critical strike. What Eye of Gul'dan? I'm sorry, I'm mixing up. Maybe I don't understand what this is, because I thought it's Eye of Kilrog is summoning the Eye. Demonology Works had to let me know how big of a deal this is in the comments down below. Pit Lord now benefits from haste and critical strike chance. Ooh, Pit Lord's going to be attacking a little faster. Pit Lord's Fellseeker damage increased by 30%. Doom Brand now deals reduced damage beyond 8 targets, and Doom Brand no longer deals damage when dispelled. Doom Brand damage, however, has been increased by 150%. Doom Fiend's Doom Bolt Volley increased by 150%. These are the set bonuses where Doom Brand summons it after it explodes, and you get this Doom Guard into the battlefield. It's a really cool effect for Warlocks. I like that element of it. Immutable Hatred has been redesigned. When you consume a demonic core, your primary Felguard carves your target, dealing physical damage. For Destruction Warlock, Summon Infernal damage is getting a 50% damage buff, and Shadowburn is getting a 15% damage buff. That's a big one. Arms Warriors, you guys are big winners when it came to PvP, and now you're just getting a flat 6% damage bonus. You really can't complain about that. For Prop Paladins, your 4-piece set bonus, Consuming Thunderous Roar now deals 100% of its remaining damage. So some big buffs to some specs moving into this. Bug fixes as well. I saw changes that they're addressing, like a bunch of PvE gear that was going to have some negative effects in PvP, and they applied a bunch of just flat nerfs to embellishments and stuff to correct that. So we're continuing on the train forward. There's a lot of stuff that I am excited for, particularly these moon conforms. Really curious to see where we have to unlock them, or if what's going to be the process for that, because there seems to be so many options. But other than that, this is going to be it. If you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with changes related to the game, or if you've maybe checked out for a while at this point and you want to keep tabs on it, hitting the subscribe button is a great way to do that, and your support is appreciated. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.